Assalamualaikum and good morning everyone. You're watching Social Buzz and I'm your host Mimi. I hope everyone is in the pink of health today. Our topic for today will be touching on the subject of the use of social media amongst youth. For today's talk, we'll be joined by two amazing figures that will help us dissect our topic to a deeper level. Our first guest is an astounding doctor that is popular on YouTube. You may have seen her from various shows before, and we are incredibly honored to have her here with us today. I introduce to you Dr. Mariam Ali. Hello, doctor. How are you?
Hi there. Yes, I'm fine. As you can see from the screen, I'm still wearing my sports attire, as fit as a fiddle, as you may say. So thank you for having me today. How about you, Miss Mimi?
I'm doing great. Thank you for asking. All right, next up is our second guest, who is an amazing mother of three. We have seen her on multiple platforms, generously sharing tips and tricks to a successful marriage and a happy family. She is also a proud member of the Mummies Dearest Union. Please give a round of applause for Miss Bella Ahmad. Mrs. Bella Ahmad, forgive me.
So, hello everyone. First of all, I sincerely and humbly thank you for inviting me. It is such an honor to be able to share my opinion with two stunning individuals, Dr. Mariam and Miss Mimi, and the people who are watching all across the globe today. So, I hope that all of you can enjoy and pay attention and also benefit from this discussion.
It is also our honor for us to have you here with us today, Mrs. Bella. Actually, I'm
Sorry.
having a little bit of technical difficulties. I'm sorry. Is it okay now?
Yeah.
Yes, I can see
Alright.
you're quite late right now.
Uh, yeah,
I'm
you're
sorry.
lagging.
There's
Uh,
I'm
Maybe
truly
you
forgive
can
me.
repeat it again
Alright.
for our audience.
As we all know, the use of technology such as mobile phones is often used for education and communication, especially in the current pandemic situation. What about Mrs. Bella? What do you think your children usually use their social media for?
Well, social media can be valued for many purposes, such as sharing, learning, interacting, and marketing. But for me, I am able to state that my children often use social media whenever they want to reach out to their family, friends, and so on. Also, they tend to share their current status on numerous social media platforms like Instagram and Twitter. However, I always advise them to not get too much into it because, sometimes it can lead to a negative blow off.
That's true. I definitely agree with you on that, Mrs. Bella. All right, my fellow audience, do you guys know what social media addiction is? Dr. Mariam, why don't you share with us the definition, please?
Yes, the pleasure is mine. Well, social media addiction can be defined as a behavioral addiction that is characterized as being overly concerned about social media, driven by an uncontrollable urge to log on or to use social media, and devoting so much time and effort to social media that it makes someone um, ignore their important life areas.
All right, so with this, let us dive deeper into our main topic of the day, which is the effects of social media addiction amongst youth. Why don't you do us the honors, Doctor?
Sure. As we can see, the world is changing into a digitalized era. You spend more time on your gadget, matching with the current needs. Therefore, it can be quite tempting to scroll through your social media every now and then. However, this doesn't mean that you have the right to ignore your health. Most of my patients who are heavy users of social media tend to have high blood pressure. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, if this persists without any cure, no exercise, healthy diet, and etc., it would eventually lead to heart disease. And from my observation, youth suffer higher blood pressure than elderlies when it comes to social media. Kind of a plot twist, isn't it? So, Miss Mimi and Mrs. Bella, why do you think this happens?
Is it because they don't spend their time in a healthy way, like you said, like doing regular exercises, a balanced diet, going for a walk, a short break from screen time? Are those it?
You have a point.
Yeah, but For me, I believe that nowadays a lot of youth live a free lifestyle. That means they are free to choose whatever they want. And I am pretty sure that most of them prefer to spend their time on social media even in their leisure time. And due to that, they choose to normalize their life without having any sorts of healthy and fit activities like jogging, uh, bicycle, and so on. And actually, it is such a waste if you cannot cherish your lifetime as a youth finally and be fit as a hero. But remember, do not push yourself too much. Just try to make it as a part of your daily routine. That's it.
Why, thank you, Mrs. Bella, for your detailed explanation and Miss Mimi's opinion. But I think let's not focus too much on the technical part. I know I'm a doctor, but don't be so serious. The answer is quite simple, actually. Youths think of social media as their life, their escapism. When they are too occupied with making content to satisfy their followers or even themselves, they feel stressed because their world is being in a serious condition. For elderlies, normally you'd think that they would get higher blood pressure because they struggle with how to use social media, but actually the fact is it contrasts with what I always hear. They usually don't care what happens to their accounts, right?
I think so.
True, I agree. Like, for example, my grandfather, he doesn't care what happens to his account.
Wow, it's
Oh,
amazing. Your
All right,
grandfather
yeah.
have a social media
Yes.
account.
of course. Besides having high blood pressure, what are the other effects of social media addiction on our health?
Okay, since all of us use social media using our eyes, I don't know if any one of you use social media using your feet, but you still use your eyes to see the content of the social media. So, excessive usage of social media would definitely affect our eyes. Normally, people blink every 10 seconds or so. But when we use tablets, computers, or any gadgets with screens, you would most likely not blink as often, which would lead to dry eyes. Ladies and gentlemen, our eyes need three substances in order to stay moist: water, oil, and mucus, which are in your tears, your natural water. So, if your eyes are dry, they are vulnerable to infection. If left untreated, it would lead to eye inflammation, abrasion of the corneal surface, corneal ulcers, and even worse, vision loss.
I see. Fun, very much attended there. I think I'm gonna get my eyes checked out later too. And to be completely honest, I kind of have been experiencing constant back pains lately, and
You need
I
to get
wonder
that
if it
checked.
has something to do with our current topic.
Oh,
Is
to
it?
drop a bombshell, I went to the doctor the other day for my son's checkup and asked the doctor about back pains because my son has been complaining about his back, even though he's still in school. Um, and the doctor told me that daily use of gadgets such as smartphones, laptops, tablets could be contributing to bad posture, awkward positioning, and inadequate support, which can unleash disruption on your back. Therefore, it can turn into serious back pain like difficulty sitting or standing for a long period. So, if there is no treatment or support to overcome the pain, it will getting worse. So, hopefully, all of us, especially their parents, I hope that you are not going to give the cold shoulder to your children if you truly care about them. Show them your love.
When you see it like that, I'm a little bit more concerned now. Since doctor mentioned the eyes, and then now you're mentioning my back, the back. I'm gonna get myself checked out later.
Yeah, you should.
Let's change the
Yes, you
topic
should.
a bit, shall we? All right, we've been talking a lot about how social media affects the physical health. What about mental health? How does it affect our mental health?
Well, recently, I believe social media has always been linked with many mental health issues. For me, since since I am a mother of three children and I have been observing all of my children on how they manage their social media. So far, they are on the right track, and whenever they overuse their social media, I will remind them of their usage so that their addiction wouldn't get worse. Ironically, since I am one of the Mommy Mysterious members, I have experience seeing and listening to other mothers' confessions regarding their child's addiction on social media. So basically, some of them were always stuck with their phone, scrolling their social media for hours and skipping their sleep schedule unconsciously. That will eventually they are later diagnosed with insomnia, loneliness, and weight loss, which is really bad for their lives.
That's really horrible. I hope they get some help. All right. Thank you, Mrs. Bella and Dr. Mariam, for the sharing just now. Ladies and gentlemen, that marks the end of our first segment. And stay tuned to learn more about the effects of social media addiction on youth with Dr. Mariam Ali and Mrs. Bella Ahmad after this quick break. Welcome back. Let us continue our discussion on the effects of social media addiction on youth. Let me start Let me start it with an observation on my part. Frankly speaking, I think youth nowadays are quite lacking when it comes to socializing with their peers or the people around them without the security of their phone. When I was at the mall the other day, I saw a bunch of around 18 to 20-year-olds sitting together at a table in Starbucks, but none of them were talking to each other. They were so into their phones, scrolling, reading, or going through social media that they barely looked up to see each other's faces. I feel that's quite a pity. Mrs. Bella, do your children or the children of the members in your union act like this too when they're out or at home or at family events?
In fact, sometimes I did go after my children's hang out with their friends, and I acknowledge that they have the gift of the gap rather than sticking with the phone. Also, before they went out with their friends, it has been my habit to put in their mind that they have to treasure their time pleasantly with their friends. So, in addition, at home, they love to put in their time entirely when we are together, having a typical conversation during eating. They so that it means that they don't keep going through their social media. So as a committed mother, I will continuously train them regarding how to manage their social media space and to ensure they do not pass over their limit. So I strongly believe that all of the mummies out there can do this. You can do this as well. Although your children seem to hate this at first, but believe me, someday they will figure out the benevolence from it.
I will take note of that. Maybe one day I'm gonna get married and have my own children. I will definitely try to practice it on my children.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
you should.
take note. Okay, future husband of Miss Bibi. Okay. Thank you. Such a wonderful advice from a wonderful mom indeed. So as for me, considering that these people would be busy scrolling through their social media accounts, they start to get distracted from doing their responsibilities, procrastination, if you may say, and would lead to a drop in productivity. My patients who are addicted to social media usually use it for more than 7 hours, which, if you do some mathematics, it'll be about 41% of your day after you minus 7 hours of sleep. That is, if my patients don't suffer from insomnia. If they do, the higher the percentage would be, right? Because they would sleep during the day. I would like to ask Miss Mimi and Mrs. Bella again. How many hours of good night sleep do you think you need?
Mm, Usually, I would usually read on the internet that usually it's around 8 hours, perhaps. It's quite common for us to see in social media and in internet like the quotes like everyone should sleep 8 hours a day on the dot. It's like plastered everywhere.
Oh, I see. Actually, based on my experience, since I am a mother, normally I would say 8 hours too. But nowadays, especially Me as a mother, so I have witnessed that one of my children commonly sleep less than 8 hours just because they have to accomplish their homework and study the subject that they did not fully understand. As we all know, that youth bodies and minds grow quickly, so that is the reason why they absolutely need to get enough sleep because sleep helps to fuel their brain and their body. Okay, just to mention, if they do not get enough sleep, they will tend to struggle in school, have trouble with memory, and the worst part is to undergo depression.
Truly
Okay,
careful.
I see that Miss Mimi and Mrs. Bella is quite informed about this sleep rule. So,
Yeah.
as for a fact, teenagers need at least 8 hours of sleep, while youth aged 19 and above need at least 7 hours of sleep a day. So the bare minimum of sleep they need is 7 hours. So they need to sleep for at least 7 hours. So if these youths fail to abide by this sleeping rule, it takes extra time for their body to recover. According to a study from 2016, it takes 4 days to fully recover from 1 hour of lost sleep. So if they don't fix their sleep schedule soon, they will suffer the worst version of sleep debt, which is sleep deficit. So you might be wondering, what is a sleep deficit? Let me word this simply. Uh, it is basically the amount of time you sleep is like putting money in a bank account. So whenever you don't get enough sleep, it's withdrawn and has to be repaid. When you're in a chronic sleep debt, you'll never be able to catch up because you're in a lot of debt.
I see. That's really quite concerning because usually for a student it would take a lot less sleep to finish our assignments and other stuff. So I need to review
Yeah.
my sleep schedules now. Considering all these talks about addiction and the bad effects it has on our youth, do you think social media should be banned entirely?
Personally, to be precise, social media is not always a dreadful thing. Actually, it depends on how you handle it. Okay, for example, Miss Mimi, at the age of 22, you're working as a host now. I believe that you're influenced by social media. Therefore, social media isn't necessarily a bad thing because I was once a youth too, and I know how bad being addicted to something is. But you have to set yourself properly so that you will not cross over your limit. That's all.
Yeah, I agree with Mrs. Bella. So you can see the example in front of us, which is Miss Mimi. She is a host and a student at the same time, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So uh, before this, we might just focus on our study, but maybe because Miss Mimi is inspired by the influencer in social media, so she challenged herself to take up two works in the same at the same time. So let me give everyone here an example: vitamins. It is good, but if you consume too much, it can be harmful to your body. So, for example, if you consume too much of vitamin C, it will lead to gastrointestinal upset, which includes diarrhea and abdominal pain. Which comes to the conclusion that if you consume it in moderation and according to your dosage, it would benefit you in many ways. So, if you do otherwise, it would be detrimental for your body.
True. I agree with both of you. And thank you for mentioning that just now. I feel a bit flustered now.
You deserve it.
True. It's true that I was once an influencer on social media myself before I was scouted into being a host. Social media definitely has its perks, especially for me. I don't think I'll be here today without it. So let's not terminate it yet. All right,
Yeah.
ladies and gentlemen. It looks like we've reached the end of our show for today. Thank you, Dr. Mariam, and thank you, Mrs. Villa, for gracing us with your presence and sharing your findings with everyone who's watching today's show. And a big thank you to everyone for sticking with us to the very, very end. See you guys again next in next episode of Social Buzz. Bye, everyone. Goodbye.